You're traveling through another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into Black Squirrel Radio.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, turn of all ages. My name is Brandon Lewis, and you are listening live to BuckShoreRadio.com here on this wonderful Saturday, April 20th, 2019. It's a very rainy, cold Saturday before Easter here in Kent, Ohio, but don't worry, I am here. After taking off last week, we're covering the Kent State spring football game. It was a lot of fun. Got a picture with Woody Barrett. Got to talk to him. Got to talk to Coach Lewis. I'm going to tell you guys, Kent State, I think, could win 5 to 6 games and maybe could be bowl eligible going into 2019. But as important as that is, guys, so much stuff happened in the sports world last week. We're going to get to so much, including where I was right, where I was wrong. Dante Centofanti, co-host of BSR Victory Formation with Dylan Bowers and Quinten Griffin, will be calling, at 10:30, and then Enzo Orlando, the co-host of Pass the Mic, which is on right after this show. He will be in studio at 11:30. We're going to be talking NBA playoffs, the Masters, the Browns schedule, and basically everybody else's NFL schedule. The NFL schedule was more important than people realize. I'm so excited, man. I have a full mock draft that I'm going to release to you guys in about 10 minutes. I have about 9 pages of notes today, typed up, double space. We're going to cover the Superstar Shakeup. We're going to cover WrestleMania. I'm going to be ranking the top WrestleManias and the top Super Bowls of the decades, because after WrestleMania 35, I realized that's it. WrestleManias are done for the decade. The Super Bowl is done for the decade, so we're going to rank each Super Bowl and each WrestleMania for the decade. Thank you guys for tuning in on BuckShoreRadio.com and or YouTube. My name is Brandon Lewis. So, we are on Spotify, we are on Podbean, we are on iTunes, and I'm just getting ready, man. I'm getting ready to rock and roll. I said a lot of stuff last week, the last time I was on, about Russell Westbrook. I got a lot of pushback on Twitter, and I love pushback on Twitter because personally, I don't like Russell Westbrook. He's down 2-1 to Portland right now, and, I just don't see them winning the series. But with that being said, guys, let me go ahead and get the primetime music up here, and then we are going to jump into where I was right and where I was wrong. Where Brandon was right. Listen, okay, I just said I'm not a big fan of Russell Westbrook, and they're down 2-1 right now to Portland. Now, Oklahoma City has better talent than Portland. Don't give me, the Oklahoma City's the 6th seed and Portland's the 3 seed. Seeds in the NBA nowadays don't matter. Home court advantage matters a little bit, but not much. The more talent you have on the NBA basketball court, that team should win. That's why I'm picking Philadelphia to make it out of the East, because I think they have the most talent. Whatever drama Philadelphia has, I don't think it'll matter. Oklahoma City should be the 3rd best team in the Western Conference. And because Golden State and Houston are playing each other in the second round at both advance, Oklahoma City by default should be in the Western Conference Finals. But I don't think they're going to make it out of the first round. OKC down 0-2. Colin Cowherd bet on Oklahoma City game 2 and lost. I wouldn't have made the bet. I think Oklahoma City loses this series in 6. But so far, I was right on Russell Westbrook. Where I was wrong. Okay, WrestleMania 35 was way better than I expected. I thought it was going to be a good show, maybe a little bit of an average show. This thing was a solid A-. Kicking it off with the Universal Championship. Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. All the way to the main event with Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch, which did not deliver. But to me, it doesn't take away from the great show. The Elias performance, the Doctor of Thugonomics, the AJ Styles, Randy Orton match. The first hour was fire. Roman Reigns beating Drew McIntyre. The Triple H Batista match where Triple H used bolt cutters, cut the nose ring out of Batista. I mean, just great stuff. It was a great show. Kofi Kingston winning topped it. I heard Daniel Bryan got a concussion in the match, which I'm a little bit scared of because he's been off TV now for a couple weeks. But I was wrong about WrestleMania, man. That show was a good show. Where I was also wrong on wrestling was Superstar Shakeup. Look, I did not expect SmackDown to get Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, or Bayley, or Liv Morgan, or Elias. They all went from Raw to SmackDown. I thought for sure Elias would stay on Raw. I mean, how are you going to fit Elias' singing segment into a 2-hour show? I really don't know. But SmackDown's loading up for Fox in October. Also, I didn't think AJ Styles was going to move from SmackDown to Raw. I didn't think Rey Mysterio was going to move from SmackDown to Raw. Lars Sullivan on SmackDown, I did not expect. I'm going to go to the Superstar Shakeup more in depth in the second hour, but there's a lot of moves. There's a lot of guys moving that I didn't think would move. I was shocked by it. I was wrong. Where Brandon was wrong also. The Warriors, I thought, would go 16-0 in the playoffs. And in Game 2 against the Los Angeles Clippers, they blew a 31-point lead. Now, that's a story. Now, look, when I text people, I text them important stuff, especially on sports. When me and my dad text about sports, I don't text them about stupid stuff. I text them about important stuff. That, to me, was important. You know, Boogie Cousins went down out for the season. And, you know, to be honest, I think it makes Golden State more dangerous. I don't know if they lose another game this postseason. And what nobody else is talking about is, well, Boogie Cousins out for a long time. Can he take another 1-year cheap deal proven with Golden State? I mean, let's be real. This could be the worst thing that happened to the NBA is Boogie Cousins getting hurt again. I hope some team does take a chance on Boogie because if not, he might come back to Golden State. Where I was also wrong was March Madness. Look, after Michigan State beat Duke, I thought for sure Michigan State would go all the way. They did not. They lost in the Final Four. Virginia won, albeit on some controversy, but Virginia won. Congratulations, Virginia. That's all I got to say on that. And lastly, where I was wrong was the NFL schedule. Okay, now, this is what I found interesting. So the Browns, everybody thought the Browns were going to have 5 primetime games. We all thought the schedule was weak. Turned out that schedule was completely off. They only get 4 primetime games, 2 on Monday night, 1 on Sunday night, 1 on Thursday night. You know what that tells me? Prior to the Browns getting Odell Beckham, the Browns were not going to be on Sunday Night Football because I believe that Odell Beckham changed the way the NFL made the schedule. They start scheduling as soon as the Super Bowl ends. So they started scheduling before free agency. I believe that Odell Beckham going to the Browns put the Browns on more primetime games. I think the Thursday night game, the Monday night game against the Jets would happen. I don't know if the Monday night game against San Francisco would happen, and I don't know if the Sunday night game against the Rams happen if the Browns do not get Odell Beckham Jr. Also, I was very surprised the way they did some of these schedules. You know, like Oakland. Oakland has 7 road games in a row from week 2 to week 7. Tampa Bay also has the same, or week 2 to week 9, excuse me. Tampa Bay also has like 5 or 6 straight road games there. I mean, it's crazy the way they did some of these schedules. The Eagles have to go on the road 3 straight games. You know, in October, which to me isn't that bad. But I'm going to get into this a little bit later. I like the Eagles schedule. I like the Browns schedule. You can read both my articles on them. I think it's just weird the way they did the schedule. You know, Bucks and Panthers are the first Thursday night football game of the year. We don't even know if Cam Newton's going to be healthy enough for Carolina. So I was completely wrong on the schedule. I didn't think Philadelphia was going to get 5 primetime games. I'll be honest. I thought New England would be a primetime game. It's a 4:25 game. I thought New England was going to be a primetime game for the Browns. It's a 4:25 game. So maybe they flexed it. Maybe the NFL was being careful, but I was wrong on the schedule. All right, and with that, that's where I was right and wrong. As you guys can see, I was only right on one thing this week. And I was barely right on that. I didn't even put the fact that Tiger Woods won the Masters, and I didn't want to make the pick. I was just hoping Tiger would win it. So with that being said, let's transition. The moment You've all been waiting for my 2019 NFL mock draft. I'm going to go ahead and throw the primetime music back up because I'm going to take about 20 minutes here. I made notes. I got every pick. I'm going to go through it one by one, and I want you guys to tell me what you think I got right and what you think I got wrong. Go ahead and tweet me at real_bworld. Here we go. With the first pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Kyler Murray, quarterback, Oklahoma. Murray has been linked to Arizona ever since new head coach Cliff Kingsbury came aboard. I think Rosen will go to either the Giants, the Chargers, or the Patriots for a second-round pick. And the Cardinals start over with a 5'10", 207-pounder. With the second pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Nick Bosa, defensive end, Ohio State. Nick Bosa is arguably the most talented player in the 2019 draft, and the Niners are in a great position. They basically tanked last season once Jimmy G went down. They signed a lot of good free agents like Jason Verrett, Quan Alexander, and Tevin Coleman. They have their QB of the future. They have a good defensive line to Forrest Buckner and Eric Armstead, and Nick Bosa would make their front seven even better. Easy pick for San Francisco. With the third pick, I had the Jets selecting Josh Allen, not the quarterback for Buffalo, the edge rusher from Kentucky. There's a rumor the Jets could be moving down at number 3, but there's no QB to me that's worth trading up for at this spot. And the Jets need defensive linemen in Greg Williams' defense. The thing I found interesting is Greg Williams ran a 4.3 in Cleveland and with the St. Louis Rams. And yes, they were St. Louis at that time. I did not butcher that. But he's staying with a 3-4 in New York, and he said he has 56 different packages, typical Greg Williams style. He can run 56 packages, a 2-4-5, a 1-4-6, whatever. But the Jets defense is a great secondary and a great linebacker, Mosley. Now they need a great outside linebacker next to him. In Kentucky's Josh Allen. Allen has good size. He has good speed. And will do well in Greg Williams' defense. Hold on one second. There we go. I just want to make sure I got the lights back on here. We are on a motion timer. So let's get back to it. Number 4, I got Oakland selecting Ed Oliver, the defensive tackle out of Houston. Last season, the Raiders traded away Khalil Mack and had no pass rush. Now, with Antonio Brown on their team, their offense will be good enough to win some games, but they still need defense. And Oliver is an athletic freak who will help the Raiders defense a bunch. Now, here's the interesting one I have at number 5. All of the mock drafts say Tampa Bay is going to take a defensive lineman. And I'm like, wait a minute. They have Villa and then Gerald McCoy. And they're in a 3-4 defense. They don't need defensive linemen. So here's what I think. If the Dolphins want a quarterback, they're going to jump over the Giants. Tampa Bay will trade back. And with the number 5 pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, I have Miami selecting quarterback Dwayne Haskins out of Ohio State. And again, like I said, the Bucs do not need the pick here. The best players available for the next 5 picks are all defensive linemen, and the Bucs are set with D linemen. The Dolphins will jump up over the Giants and take a quarterback. I'm not in love with Haskins, and I don't think Miami is a good landing spot, but I think that's the direction they go with new head coach Brian Flores. The Giants, I think, will take the best player available, Quinten Williams. I do not think the Giants will take a quarterback, even if Miami doesn't jump up. And I think that Quinten Williams, a 303-pounder from Alabama, is the right pick. The Giants are rebuilding, and they'll start by doing it through the trenches. And to me, Williams is the best player in the draft. He's a 303-pound athletic freak. The Jaguars, I think, will take tackle Jawan Taylor from Florida. The Jags are going to need to rebuild their offensive line in order to protect Nick Foles, and Taylor is the best tackle in the draft. 6'5", 312 pounds, athletic, powerful, and mean, and he has long arms. The Lions. I think take T.J. Hawkinson, the tight end out of Iowa. Matt Patricia used to be on the same team as Rob Gronkowski. Matthew Stafford needs weapons. Hawkinson is being compared to Gronk. Great blocker, 6'5", and fast and athletic. This pick makes all the sense in the world for Detroit. Number 9, I have Buffalo selecting Jonah Williams, the offensive guard out of Alabama. The Bills need somebody to protect for Josh Allen, and Williams is the best player on the board at this point. Number 10, I have Denver selecting linebacker Devin White out of LSU. Best player on the board, quick and binds the football, and new head coach Vic Fangio, a defensive mind, will want a defensive guy as his first pick. The Bengals, I have, hold on one second. Sorry about that. I didn't put the board in animation mode. So the Bengals, with the 11th pick, I have Devin Bush, linebacker out of Michigan. Why? It would be so Cincinnati to draft a linebacker from Michigan, but Bush is the real deal. And consistent on getting sacks, but he hit the quarterback in college. He trusts his eyes, and he's a great tackler. Let's see. The Packers, I think so. Like Rashawn Gary, the edge out of Michigan. And why do I think that is? I think back-to-back Michigan players go here. Green Bay has been using their drafts over the last 2 years to rebuild their defense, and Gary can play on the edge in Mike Penn's free 4 defense. Great pursuit on run plays. Now, the Bucs. This is the trade they made with Miami. I think they're taking DJ Metcalf, the wide receiver out of Mississippi. Trading back with Miami will allow the Bucs to get a guy to play opposite of Mike Evans. The 6'3" wide receiver can block and go up and get the ball, something Arians loves as a wide receiver. I think the Falcons take Greedy Williams, the corner out of LSU. Williams is a big corner at 6'2", something Dan Quinn likes. The Falcons need help on the defense side of the ball, and Williams, the best corner in the draft, at this point is the best player available. I think the Redskins take Montez Sweat, the edge out of Mississippi State. I don't think Washington goes after quarterback this year, and Sweat fits the need of a free 4 defense, and they need a Preston Smith replacement. I think Carolina takes Andre Dillard, the offensive tackle out of Washington State. Depending on Cam Newton's injury, Carolina may be terrible this year, but they need help on the offensive line, and Dillard is, again, the best player available at this point. Now, the Giants, with the Browns pick, I think they select Garrett Bradley out of NC State. And he's a center, by the way. The Giants will be building for the trenches in the draft. With them taking Williams earlier, I think they can get an offensive lineman here. Bradley is the best center in the draft. Athletic, 6'3", just above 300 pounds. The Vikings, Quinn Griffin's team. I think so, like Dexter Lawrence, the defensive lineman out of Clemson. That'd be a really good pick for them, Q. The Vikings need a Sheldon Richardson replacement, and Lawrence is that guy. 6'4", 342 pounds. I love big defensive linemen, and so does Mike Zimmer. Hold on one second. My page is stuck. There we go. All right, the Titans at number 19. I think so. Chris Lindstrom, the offensive guard out of Boston College. The Titans got Mariota hurt last year, and so they need to protect him better by bolstering their offensive line. They got Roger Stafford from the Rams, but they need another guard, and that's where Lindstrom comes in. The Steelers, I think, will select Lonnie Johnson Jr., the corner out of Kentucky. The Steelers' biggest weakness is cornerback. Johnson Jr. is a 6'2" corner with fast feet and can press. He fits the Steelers' style perfectly. The Seahawks, I think so, like Jeffrey Simmons, defensive tackle out of Mississippi State, number 21. Last year, Seattle started getting younger on defense, and they continue to do that this year with Simmons, who is a 300-pound lineman and can move. The Ravens, I think they select Brian Burns, the edge out of Florida State. The Ravens lost a lot of different pieces on defense this offseason, and they need a new linebacker after letting C.J. Mosley go. Burns can fly to the ball and is a good physical tackler. He fits Baltimore's mold. 23, I have the Texans selecting Cody Ford, the offensive lineman out of Oklahoma. Something Ford is the left tackle equivalent of Wayne Johnson, the starting right tackle of the Eagles, who went to Oklahoma, the 4th pick in the 2013 draft. And if that's true, Ford would be a steal for Houston. Watson got hit a lot last year, and they need to protect him. Ford is a rare 329-pound athletic freak on the offensive line. The Raiders, I think that they select, now this would be the Bears pick, by the way. I think they select Josh Jacobs, the running back out of Alabama. Jacobs is the best back in the draft, a power back at 220. The fact he's only 5'10 won't stop John Gruden from picking his running back of the future in Jacobs. Now, my Eagles with the 25th pick in the draft. I think they select Christian Wilkins, the defensive tackle out of Clemson. The Eagles front office has made it clear this offseason they are going to build through the trenches in this draft. Even though the defensive line is stacked, Jim Schwartz could also use more. Wilkins is a 315-pound run stuffer with great character. He would fit the Birds locker room perfectly. The Colts, I think, select safety Jonathan Abraham out of Mississippi State. The Colts need another safety, and Abraham can play more in the box, allowing defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus to move Malik Hooker to that free safety center field position. The Raiders with the Cowboys pick, I think they select the second tight end in the draft that comes out of Iowa, Noah Fant. The second tight end off the board from Iowa in the first round, as I said, Fant is a perfect Jared Cook replacement. And then finally, at 28, I had the Packers trading with the Chargers. I think the Chargers moved back a couple spots. I think Green Bay gets Jeremy Freight, the linebacker out of NC State. I don't think the Chargers need the pick, and they can move back 2 spots for another pick to allow Green Bay to move up to get their Clay Matthews replacement. Freight is 6'2", 240. He was fast, can tackle, and hit the quarterback, something Mike Penn loves. At number 29, I got the Kansas City Chiefs selecting Byron Murphy, the cornerback out of Washington. The Chiefs' defense needs a lot of work, and Murphy is a 5'11 corner who can play in the slot and has great IQ. Then I think the Chargers, who moved back with Green Bay, they select Justin Lane, the quarterback out of Michigan State. Why? Because he's a former wide receiver. He's 6'2", great hands, good football IQ, and they can outdo the Chiefs with this pick. I think the Rams get the Roger Saffold replacement with Connor McGovern, offensive guard out of Penn State. McGovern can play both guard and center. He'll replace Saffold in the line at left guard. He can open his hips, does not get bull rush, decent pass protection, and good run blocking. And finally, with the 32nd pick, I got the Browns trading with New England. I think the Browns will move up in the first round because I don't think New England, they always trade back. I think the Browns get their guy here, Greg Little, offensive lineman out of Mississippi. I think Little could be the next great left tackle in Cleveland. He's athletic, a really good pass blocker, and should do the job to keep Baker Mayfield upright. And again, I trust him better than Greg Robinson. And with that being said, guys, that is my mock draft for 2019. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Tweet me at real_bworld. Let me know what you guys thought about my mock draft. Let me know what you guys think I got really right and really wrong. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and take a break here. I'll be back at 10:30 with Dante Centofanti. Well, I mean, I think the difference here is that Kyrie Irving doesn't have a LeBron James as his co-star, and he's still doing it, which shows how great of a player he is. Look, I said when Kyrie left LeBron, I did not think Boston was going to win a championship with just Kyrie Irving because I think that Kyrie Irving needs a LeBron or a Kevin Durant. Not saying he's one of the best players in the league, but I think to win a championship, he needs one of those two guys besides him just because of the way the NBA is structured nowadays. With that being said, I do think Boston's the second best team in the East. Like I said, I'm still on Philly. I don't trust Milwaukee until I see it. I've never No, I mean I'm not big on Milwaukee. I would actually be higher on Toronto than Milwaukee if I didn't see Kyle Lowry completely choke like the last 4 or 5 years in the playoffs. I mean I mean we saw it in Game 1 this year against Orlando. I If Kawhi Leonard had a decent number two to rely on, I'd probably pick Toronto over Milwaukee because I think Toronto's the better coach team. I think that they have more depth. Problem is, besides Kawhi Leonard, you can't trust anybody in that Toronto team. All right, let's switch gears to the West because this is where you're going to disagree with me. Um, I know you've probably seen my Twitter beat with a lot of people over the last week because I've been very, 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 very critical of one player who wears the number 0 on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The way I look at it, they're down 2-1 to Portland and they should be. I don't care about seeding. Like I just said, in the NBA, to me, if you have more talent, you should win the series. Oklahoma City, to me, should be up 2-1 in this series. And I don't care how well Russell Westbrook plays, and I don't care about Paul George's injury or whatever. Oklahoma City should win this series. And at the end of the day, to me, this is just another classic example of Russell Westbrook putting all of his energy into the regular season, and then once he gets to the postseason, being knocked out early. Okay. And your point is? You're good. I'm just going off track record in the postseason. I don't care. They basically brought the same team back last year, and they got swept by a worse team in New Orleans. And if I'm going roster for roster, I'll take the I'll take the free trio of Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Steven Adams over Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum, and either Nurkic or Cantor, whichever center was in there. I just believe that if Russell Westbrook is this great player that everybody points him to, because everybody acts like he should be in the MVP conversation and he's a top five NBA player, they should win this series. If they don't win the series, I have the right to criticize Westbrook. And you know, no. The thing is, everybody makes this whole thing about Russell Westbrook. Everybody feels bad for Russell Westbrook because isn't this, and he does. Well, it feels like everybody does to me because everybody comes in his defense, and I'm the only one sitting here. Me and a couple people in the media. It's not like everybody, but it's just you're sitting here going, "Oh, poor Russ. Russ doesn't have enough help. Russ doesn't this. KD left Russ. Blah 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 blah. Prove it, man. They should be the third best team in the Western Conference. They have they have better talent than everybody except for Houston and Golden State. They should represent the West this year in the Western Conference Finals because they caught a break that Houston was the 4 seed. Because Houston and Golden State are going to play in the second round. So whoever wins the Spurs Nuggets series, which I believe will be the Spurs, Oklahoma City is better than San Antonio. They should win that series too. Yes. No, I'm not. I believe the Spurs are better than Denver. I believe that they have more talent than Denver. They have two All Stars versus Denver one. I think OKC would have more talent than Denver. Or excuse me, OKC would have more talent than San Antonio. I actually believe Portland would have more talent than than San Antonio. San Antonio has two All Stars in DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. Portland has borderline three. OKC has three perennial All Stars. That's I told you before at the start of this conversation. In my opinion, just take All Stars in the NBA because the NBA is literally all about talent. Yeah, coaching matters somewhat, but it's the least amount of coaching matters in all sports. If you have a great player, you should win basketball games. That's just how I feel, and I believe that's how most people feel. Now he showed up last night, but he needs to do that more. I don't see it consistently. Absolutely. And Dante, I do want to let you know that we have about 9 minutes left. So if you want to get in any other topic, go ahead and fire away. I did not hear about that. I did not hear about that at all. Go ahead and enlighten me.
The racial epithet in the fight. Like he called.
Okay. So I'm just trying to get the story straight here. So he said that word in the fight and got suspended 5 games. Is that what happened? Okay. Gotcha. And you're saying he shouldn't have been suspended at all, right? Oh, okay. Yeah. I will I, I yeah, we got about 5 minutes. Let's jump in really quick to the end of our schedule. I think the end of our schedule is very, very important. People underestimate how important the end of our schedule is. The most important out of all the schedules. It's not who you play; it's when you play them. And when I look at this Brown schedule, Dante, let me tell you, I think early on is a little hard. I think they could lose like 2 out of their first 5 games, but then after that it's a really good schedule for them, especially down the stretch. What do you have the Browns going? Give me your prediction on record, and then I'll respond. Okay, I have them going 12. I have them going 12-4. What losses do you have them? That's interesting because here are the losses I have at the Jets on Monday Night Football. That's an early game. Everybody forgets. You know who their defensive coordinator is? Everybody. It's Greg Williams. He knows that personnel. The Jets are going to be a lot better. That's their home opener. The Jets are going to beat the Browns in that game. I have the. And I agree with you. Then I have them losing to San Francisco. Like we said, that's a possibility. I have them losing to New England in New England. I think they absolutely lose that game. To me, there's no way they win that game. And then at Pittsburgh, I have them losing. But I think that some of your fandom in you, to be honest. I think, no, I do. I do. If it was, yeah, exactly. That's the fandom in you, a beautiful sight. If it was in, yeah. And again, that's the fandom in you, because other people that aren't Browns fans do not want Baker Mayfield taking the throne from Tom Brady. I guarantee you that. There's probably some people, but there's other people that, like me, would choose Patrick Mahomes or Carson Wentz or Andrew Luck or Deshaun Watson, or we have a plethora of young NFL quarterbacks. All right. I'll give you that. And then I do have them losing one game to Pittsburgh. I don't think they sweep Pittsburgh. I think people are underestimating Pittsburgh a lot. I think the Browns win the division, but I do think Pittsburgh makes the playoffs. And by the way, I have the 3-6 seed matchup right now in the AFC wildcard. Pittsburgh going to Cleveland. Oh, yeah, I do. All right, Dante, with that being said, I got to run. Thanks for calling in, man. Call in at any time. No problem. Thank you. All right, guys, and that was Dante Centofanti. Goes to BSR Victory Formation Mondays, 4 to 6 p.m. with Dylan Bowers and Quinten Griffin. Thanks, Dante, for calling in. Again, call in at any time. All right, guys, we are about to hit the top of the hour, so I'm going to go ahead and play an ID, and we'll be right back. There we go.
What was Dante's take on the Tim Anderson suspension?
Yeah.
He was like, how did he get into like some race thing already?
I don't know.
That's a problem with
All right,
sports.
I'm going back on there though in like 20 seconds. I'm only playing a quick ad, so.
Yeah, and I don't get how he thinks the Browns will beat the Patriots. Who's gonna outcoach coach?
All right, guys, and we are live here at the top of hour 2 on Brandon's World. Before we start, I want to let you guys know that Buckscore Radio does sell station merch. We have several different types of t-shirts, stickers, pins, record bowls, and more. By the way, we're selling brand new ones. Go on BuckscoreRadio.com right now and check them out. You can find the shop link in the top corner of our website. And stay tuned and show everyone you are not your BSR by buying all of your favorite merch. With that being said, guys, welcome live here to Brandon's World of the second hour. I am your host, Brandon Lewis. And, you know, it's been a lot of fun show today. I gave out my mock draft at the top of this show. It was really fun. You know, I do think Kyler Murray goes number 1 to Arizona if you missed it. But right now, before we get into some wrestling stuff, I'm going to break down the Eagles and, well, my Eagles and the Browns schedule. I almost flipped that. And I'm going to tell you guys what each team goes. And so let's go ahead and throw up the primetime music. Again, I know you guys are probably sick of hearing it today because I've been playing it a lot. But you know what? It's NFL day, man. We need primetime music. And so we're going to go ahead and roll with it. And I'm going to break down the schedules. Here we go. So, the Browns schedule, I think they kick off Tennessee with a W. Like I already told Dante, at the Jets, Monday Night Football, I think that's a hard game to win. Greg Williams, defensive coordinator. Jets are going to improve. Browns are coming off a win week 1 against a Tennessee team that I don't think will be as good as last year. I think the Browns lose week 2 to the Jets. Sunday Night Football, week 3 against the Rams. Look, it's hard for a team to go from the West Coast to the East Coast on a Sunday night and play football. The Browns should win that game, even though it's on a Sunday night at home against the Rams. At Baltimore, I think they win. I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to make it for the season. I don't think Baltimore's going to be very good this year. The Browns are better than Baltimore. Even in Baltimore, I think they win. At San Francisco, I think it's another tough Monday night game for the Browns, going east to the West Coast. Niners will be a lot better. I have the Niners one of my best improved teams. I think they make the playoffs this year as a wild card, even as a division contender to the Rams. I think Jimmy G and all the additions they made are really good. This is going to be a tough game for the Browns to win. I think they drop it on Monday Night Football. Then Seattle. The only thing that will stop the Browns from winning this game is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is going to have to go off. Seattle is pretty good, but they're not great. The Browns have better talent. Seattle going from the west to the east coast. The Browns should win that game and start off for the first 6 weeks 4-2 as they head into their bye week 7. Week 8 at New England, there's no way the Browns win that game, as I already detailed. And then at Denver. Look, I know Denver's a tough place to play, but Denver's going to be terrible this year. Vic Fangio wants to go back to the 1960s. Joe Flacco is awful. Denver is awful. All they have is Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. They have a good pass rush. That's about it. The Browns should win the game in Denver. Then I think Buffalo's a win. And by the way, I think Buffalo will be a much improved team, but I think the Browns are still better. I believe Pittsburgh on a Thursday night, the Browns will win that game at home. I think the dog pound will be fired up. And then I believe the Browns will beat Miami in week 12. Again, if Miami drafts Askins, they'll still be tanking. So I have the Browns at that point only losing 3 games. And then I think their final loss is at Pittsburgh in week, 13? Week 13 at Pittsburgh. That's a 4 o'clock game, December 1st. I don't think Big Ben has ever lost to the Browns in in Pittsburgh. The streak will continue this year because I just don't see how the Browns can beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. I think the Steelers, like I told Dante, wildcard team, Steelers at Browns, 6-3 wildcard weekend. Then I think the Browns finish up with 4 wins. Cincinnati, at Arizona, Baltimore, and at Cincinnati. I mean, that's a really easy schedule. Cincinnati, to me, Zach Taylor's a wild card, but their team's still not as good as the Browns. The Browns should beat them. I already mentioned Baltimore, and the Browns are not going to lose to Arizona because Baker Mayfield wants revenge on his old coach, Cliff Kingsbury. I have the Browns finishing 12-4. You can read my article where I detail the full schedule on BoxShowRadio.com. Now, I didn't post this article on Box Score Radio. I actually posted it on Medium because I know you guys don't want to read about my Philadelphia Eagles since it's a Cleveland-based station. But I love the Eagles' schedule. Start off with Washington. We own Case Keenum. We'll beat him. We'll go 1-0. Atlanta's a tough team to figure out. They could be a playoff team or they could have 5 wins. I'll take the latter. I think the Eagles beat them on Sunday Night Football and improve to 2-0. I think the Eagles will beat Detroit. I think Detroit will be terrible this year. I think the Eagles are 3-0 to start the year. At Green Bay, Thursday Night Football in September. This is where the Eagles get a break. Yes, it's on a short week, but they don't have to go to Green Bay in December. They're going there in September. Problem is, I think Green Bay's schedule is a lot better than Chicago's. I think Green Bay wins the North this year, and Aaron Rodgers always owns Philly, so I'll take an L there. The Jets, now here's the difference. The Browns play the Jets in New York. Eagles play the Jets in Philly. I don't think Sam Darnold's ready to enter that hostile territory in Philadelphia. I think the Eagles will beat the Jets. At Minnesota, sorry, Q. I think the Eagles get the win. I think the Vikings are third best team in the NFC North. I think Philly's better. I think we'll dominate that Minnesota offensive line. I think we'll finally get to Kirk Cousins. And I think a healthy Carson Wentz. If Carson Wentz was healthy last year, we would have beat him in Philly. Then at Dallas on a Sunday night, we ain't losing the Cowboys. All right, Philadelphia is way better than Dallas. I do think we'll take an L in Buffalo. I think that'll be a hard game. That's 3 straight road games for the Eagles. No way you can win 3 straight road games in the NFL. I think Buffalo's a much better team, as I already mentioned with Cleveland. I think Buffalo can get us here. And then we go to Chicago before our bye. Chicago, like I already mentioned, is going to take a step back. They have a first-place schedule. I don't love Mitch Trubisky. So I think Chicago takes a step back. And I think the I think that the Eagles win that game to make their record 7-2 as we end it in the bye. Then after the bye, they host New England. So they host New England after the bye. I don't see the Eagles beating New England, even though I really want them to. I do think they beat Seattle and home on a Sunday Night Football. That's just me. I think they'll go to Miami. They'll beat the Giants. They'll beat Washington and Washington. They'll beat the Cowboys at home, and then they'll go to the Giants and win Week 17. Philadelphia will finish 13-3. Guys, a couple of these games, even Green Bay, I think we're better than Green Bay. The only thing that stopped me is Rodgers. Buffalo, I think we'll lose. Unless we somehow lose to Dallas or Minnesota, then I think we can beat Buffalo. New England, I think, could be potentially we could win. I think we match up well with New England. Seattle is one that I have as winning. We could lose. So to me, there's a lot of possibilities. Philadelphia could be somewhere between 10-6 and 13-3. I am at 13-3. That's the fan in me, I guess you could say, but I really like the Eagles roster. I like what they've done. I think Doug Peterson's going to come up firing up for training camp. I'm wearing all Eagles gear today. I'm fired up for the season, man, and I can't wait. Speaking of Eagles Patriots, right? You know, I realized something, like I said, while watching WrestleMania 35. And that's the thing, that the Super Bowls and WrestleManias of this decade are over. So I thought, well, let's go into this here. And let's turn on some more music here. Let's turn on a wrestling song. And let's rank the top WrestleManias and top Super Bowls of the decade. Here we go. The top 10 WrestleManias of this decade. Number 1 is WrestleMania 30. The Daniel Bryan just miracle, beating Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista in the same night. The Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker straight. You know, those are the two most memorable moments of the show, but it was one of the best shows ever. The first ever onto the John Memorial Battle Royal, and all this stuff that went on at WrestleMania 30, one of the best WWE shows of all time. WrestleMania 30 tops the list. Number 2, WrestleMania 33. What's not to like about this show? Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, Roman Reigns, the Hardy Boys returning, AJ Styles against Shane McMahon to kick off the show. What's not to like about this show? WrestleMania 33 was one of the best WrestleManias of all time. Not better than 30, but pretty close. Number 3, WrestleMania 26. Bret Hart, Mr. McMahon. Shawn Michaels' career ending via The Undertaker. John Cena, Batista, Edge, Chris Jericho. There's a lot of good matches on this card. John Morrison and R-Truth kicked off the show against Sheamus for the Tag Team Championship. That was even a good match. Triple H and Sheamus was a good match. This was a really good show. I have it at number 3. Number 4, I have this year's WrestleMania, WrestleMania 35. We already talked about it. Kofi Kingston. You know, Becky went Charlotte, Ronda Rousey main event. The kickoff with Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre. Shane McMahon and Miz, one of the most underrated matches on the card. Triple H, Batista. This was a really good WrestleMania. Really good for a 7-hour show. I think it's number 4 on the list. Number 5, I have WrestleMania 28. Now, this was the John Cena vs. Rock 1 WrestleMania, but it also had Chris Jericho vs. CM Punk, Sheamus beating Daniel Bryan in 18 seconds, the Team Eddie vs. Team John Laurinaitis, Triple H and Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. Just a really good WrestleMania. I think it's number 5. Number 6 was WrestleMania 31. Now, this one gets elevated because of Seth Rollins cashing in Money in the Bank, Triple H and Sting. Seth Rollins and Randy Orton was really good. Even the Reigns-Lesnar match before the Rollins cash-in was good. The 7-man ladder match that kicked off the show was really entertaining. John Cena, Rusev. This was a really underrated Mania, but I think with all the other good Manias here, it's number 6. Number 7, I have last year's WrestleMania, WrestleMania 34. This WrestleMania felt a little bit long. Styles and Nakamura disappointed. Really good start with Rollins, Finn Balor, and The Miz to kick off the show. Lesnar Reigns, I thought was better than people said. Daniel Bryan returned. Braun Strowman winning the titles with a 10-year-old. But overall, I think this WrestleMania felt a little bit slow. That's why I knock it down the list. Number 8, I have WrestleMania 29. Now, there's only 4 big matches that come out of WrestleMania 29. And that is, John Cena, Rock, Triple H, Lesnar, Undertaker, CM Punk, and then you can throw in the Shield match at the beginning. Besides that, Fandango debuted and beat Chris Jericho. El No beat Ziggler and Big E. I mean, it was a good Mania, but it just felt like everything was kind of rushed. They cut out the Divas match, remember, with the Funkasaurus and Naomi and Cameron against the Bella Twins and Cody Rhodes. And I think it was the Road Scholars, Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow. They cut that out because I believe it was Undertaker and Punk went longer than expected. Again, this Mania felt a little bit rushed, a little bit slow. There were good matches, but the crowd wasn't as hyped as WrestleMania 35 in the same location, so I knock it down. WrestleMania 27, Michael Cole faced Jerry the King Lawler. Randy Orton faced CM Punk, good match. Rey Mysterio faced Cody Rhodes. Edge in his last match ever faced Alberto Del Rio, but you already know that. Boy, that WrestleMania was pretty terrible. John Cena and The Miz main evented, and The Miz won by countout. That's how bad that Mania was. And finally, WrestleMania 32, maybe the worst WrestleMania I've ever seen, though. Roman Reigns, Triple H. Everybody knew who was winning. The only good match on that show was Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch. Triple threat match for the Women's Championship. That was the only thing I remember about that show. Besides the fact that Undertaker and Shane McMahon had a really slow match, and Shane McMahon tried to kill himself by jumping off Hell in a Cell. A ladder match that was not that entertaining. A match between the New Day and the League of Nations, which didn't make any sense. The Rock beating Eric Rowan in 6 seconds. That was WrestleMania 32, folks. A terrible, terrible show. Also, Brock Lesnar beat Dean Ambrose in a match that I just remembered about. So if that's the case, you know it wasn't that good. Now, here we go. Super Bowls of the decade. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Here we go. Top 10 Super Bowls of the decade. I don't want to throw on the primetime music again. That's the only NFL music we have in here. And I don't want to bore you guys to death with the primetime music. So I'm just going to go over these top 10 Super Bowls of the decade. Number 1, obviously, New England Phillies, Super Bowl 52. Eagles won. Patriots fans. But no, really, great Super Bowl, 41-33. Shootout, very entertaining. No doubt about it. By the way, it's funny because every New England Super Bowl on this list is in the top 5 because New England always plays great games. Number 2, Super Bowl 51, the comeback. Enough said. Number 3, Super Bowl 49, the play at the goal line. Enough said. Number 4, New England Giants, Super Bowl 46. Remember when Eli Manning closed his eyes and threw that ball to Mario Manningham down the sideline? Yeah, that was still an entertaining game. The Giants came back and won. I think it's number 4 on the list. Number 5, this year's Super Bowl, I thought was more entertaining than more people realized. And it's better than the other Super Bowls on this list, so that's why I have it at 5. 6, the Saints called Super Bowl 44. I don't remember too much about this Super Bowl besides the onside kick. The first half, I don't remember anything. I didn't think it was that entertaining of a Super Bowl. I think you had 2 great quarterbacks and 2 good coaches, but didn't really remember a lot about it besides I was bored. I also don't remember a lot about the Green Bay Pittsburgh Super Bowl, but the fact it was better than the bottom 3 Super Bowls. I don't remember much about that Super Bowl. It was a long time ago. I don't remember anything about that game besides the fact the Packers won. I'm being honest. Super Bowl 47 is number 8 between Baltimore and San Francisco. Remember, this was the game where the lights went out. Baltimore took a huge lead. San Francisco came back late. The San Francisco comeback was what made this Super Bowl, but it wasn't the greatest Super Bowl. It was okay. It was Ray Lewis's last game, and though, to be honest, Kaepernick, Joe Flacco Super Bowl was not that entertaining. Denver, Carolina Super Bowl 50. Man, this was tough to watch. This game was tough to watch when a quarterback couldn't even throw the ball 5 yards and Cam Newton was getting beat up by Denver and that halftime show was god-awful. This game was hard to watch. But you know what game was the hardest to watch? The last one on the list, the worst of the decade? Super Bowl 48, the blowout. Seattle blown out Denver. So Peyton Manning's 3 Super Bowls on this list are 10, 9, and 6. Tom Brady's Super Bowls on this list are 1 through 5. And the other Super Bowl is Green Bay and Pittsburgh. So it's a weird Super Bowl, but again, I think New England, all the Super Bowls are in the top 5 just simply because, again, entertainment factor, big plays, remembrance factor. That's how I rank these Super Bowls and WrestleManias. Remembrance, big time factors, big matches, big games, big moments, entertainment. That's how I rank them. So again, New England. I think it's going to make Super Bowl 54. I think it's going to be a New England-Philadelphia rematch as of right now, and it might top that list at Super Bowl 52 as we head into the next decade. Next fall, we're going to rank the finals of the decade. I think Golden State will be down near the bottom, except for 2016. I should have Dante do that. I might do that with Enzo now because, we have 9 NBA finals done. We only have 1 more to rank, and this one will probably be terrible. So we could probably go and do that, but it's up to him. We'll see where our conversation goes. We're going to talk about Tiger Woods when he comes in here in about 10 minutes. Before that, though, like I said, or in the show, I was really wrong about the Superstar shakeup. Really wrong. I'm shocked. I'm shocked AJ Styles went to Raw. I'm shocked Roman Reigns went to SmackDown. I'm shocked Elias went to SmackDown. I'm shocked Rey Mysterio went to Raw. I'm shocked they broke up the Riot Squad. I'm shocked about a lot of it. If you notice for SmackDown, they're almost all singles competitors. They brought in 4 new females: Liv Morgan, Ember Moon, Bayley, and Mickie James from Raw. Mickie James hasn't even been on TV, but apparently she got moved in the Superstar shakeup. They Tucker Knight and Otis. They brought in to SmackDown. That's the only tag team that moved to SmackDown. They had other tag teams on Raw. The Usos moved over on SmackDown, which I'm a little bit concerned about with them. And then, the War Raiders, who are now renamed the Viking Experience, brought up from NXT to Raw. Lacey Evans is on Raw, which I love. Lacey Evans. Just look up her theme song. It's amazing. There's a lot of stuff I'm confused about. I'm really happy, though, that Seth and Roman are not on the same show. I think that now they deserve some space. If you guys want to see me cry, come tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. and watch the Shield's last match on the WWE Network. If you guys want to see me cry, that will be a moment in time that I may cry, because I'm going to miss the Shield. But I think it's good after this match. I kind of separate Seth and Roman. Let Seth do his own thing with McIntyre or whoever, and let Roman feud on Raw. Maybe Roman turns heel. He Superman punched Vince. I don't know if that's a face or a heel thing at this point. Does Roman dethrone Kofi? I think there's a lot of possibilities with Roman, but I'm shocked he went to SmackDown. I think Finn Balor on SmackDown will work, and I think Joe on Raw will work, even though I'd rather have Joe and Strowman on SmackDown. But then again, Finn had nothing else to do on Raw. There's just a lot of moving parts of the Superstar shakeup. I somewhat think AJ didn't have a lot to do on SmackDown, which is good they moved into Raw. But at the same time, like, SmackDown Live is the house that AJ Styles built. And that's going to be some time getting used to see him on the red brand. And we don't know about Ronda Rousey. Apparently, she broke her hand at WrestleMania. We don't know about Sasha Banks. Apparently, she tried to quit WWE. We don't know about Brock Lesnar. So there's a lot of moving pieces here in wrestling. By the time we get to Fox, I just saw Last Man Standing. That show on Fox got renewed for season 8, but it's going to be moving network. So if you love Last Man Standing like I do, it's going to be moving nights. Because SmackDown's moving in on Friday nights. So I suggest Last Man will be on Tuesdays, which is interesting because WWE will have a studio show on Tuesdays, and it's rumored that AEW may have a show on Tuesdays. So Tuesday nights may be packed come fall, but I find it really interesting how they did these rosters. I don't think they're complete. We might have another shakeup. The Miz on Raw, I think Miz had more stuff to do on SmackDown. As a face on Raw, I don't know how he's going to fit in. I would have loved to see the Miz, the face, go up against Daniel Bryan as champion on SmackDown. They never did that. Like I already mentioned, Daniel Bryan has a concussion. I'm scared about Daniel Bryan because apparently he went to the doctor again. That's never good. Sheamus is reportedly also in concussion protocol. I think they should have broke up Rusev Day and Nakamura. I think Rusev should have went to Raw as a full-out heel, challenge Seth Rollins. You bring Lana around with him. You bring back Rusev Day. That, to me, would have been the thing to do with Rusev, because right now he's about to get buried. I don't get why you're bringing up EC3 to Raw. I think EC3 is going to get buried. I don't think Vince likes him. There's a lot of stuff I question here. But at the end of the day, it's Superstar shakeup. The rosters are going to transform. We don't have another pay-per-view till May 18th, and then we have one a couple weeks later in June in Saudi Arabia. It looks like The Undertaker may wrestle Elias there from what we saw a couple weeks ago on Raw, which I would be all for. But, yeah, it's a very interesting time in wrestling. Very interesting time. Before I go to break, I forgot to bring this up, and I want to bring this up. So, as an Eagles fan, I have to watch all Eagles games. There's no advantage or buts about it. That's why I pay for it. And NFL Sunday tickets, student discount, $25 a month for 4 months, September through December. Well, what I find interesting is normally the Browns run at 1 o'clock every week. So normally I only get to see about 5 Browns games a year. This year, though, I'm going to get to see a lot more Browns games. So, week 1, the Eagles and Browns both play at 1. Week 2, though, the Eagles are on Sunday night, the Browns are on Monday night. How about that? 2 straight primetime games for me. What am I going to do all day? Oh, yeah, that's right. I pay for some tickets. Just flip through and watch games. I love it, man. Football Sundays. Week 3, I got the Eagles at 1 o'clock. The Browns are on Sunday Night Football, so that'll be an adjustment for me. It's usually the opposite. Then week 4, the Eagles are on Thursday Night Football. The Browns are at 1 o'clock. Week 5, the Eagles are at 1 o'clock. The Browns are on Monday Night Football. So one primetime games for me. Week 6, the Eagles and Browns both at 1. All right. Week 7, Eagles are on Sunday night. The Browns are on a bye. That's a Cowboy game, by the way. Week 8, Eagles are at 1. Browns 4:25. Week 9, Eagles at 1. Browns 4:25. Week 10, the Eagles are on a bye. Browns at 1 o'clock. Week 11, the Eagles at 4:25, Browns at 1 o'clock. So you guys get the point. Like the Eagles and Browns are on completely opposite schedules. There's only 3 times they're both on at 1. Week 1, Week 6, and Week 17. So I'm going to get to see a lot more Browns games. This is what you people wanted, man. You people all wanted the Browns in prime time. You guys think the Browns are America's team now? We're about to find out. I have the Browns going 12-4. I think the schedule is very workable. But I'm going to get Enzo Orlando's opinion up next because we're going to talk about the Masters. We're going to talk about the NBA playoffs. We're going to talk about these NFL schedules. We're going to talk everything sports. We might even throw in some NHL playoffs as well. So stay tuned, and we'll be back at 11:30. Yeah, I'm Brian Schwartz. All right, guys, before I bring on Enzo Orlando, you are listening to Brandon's Worth the Bottom of the Hour. I got something to tell you guys. So next weekend, save the date, because Bug Squirrel Radio is having a tattoo fundraiser at Defiance Tattoos in downtown Canton. Wow, I really messed that up. On April 26th, a portion of your tattoo costs will support college radio. This fundraiser will feature numerous PSR-related tattoo designs and special fundraising pitching. The official design options and price will be announced soon. Save the date by following Bug Squirrel Radio on Facebook, and we'll see you next Saturday, April 26th. Again, I just want to make a quick programming note for us. Next Saturday, my best friend Andrew Becker, the host of the Andrew Becker podcast, will be here in studio the full 2 hours. We're going to break down the NFL draft and all things sports, so look forward to that. But right now, I am the host of the Pass the Mic, Enzo Orlando. Enzo, what's up, buddy?
I'm doing great, Brandon. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. I woke up feeling, I don't know, what's that word Baker Mayfield
Dangerous?
uses?
You woke up feeling dangerous?
I wouldn't say dangerous, but I woke up in a good mood. I woke up in a mood of, you know what? I'm going to talk sports today. I'm going to bash some people. I'm going to make opinions, and whatever you guys say on Twitter, you guys can say it. So, that being said, we were talking off the air, and we said, let's start with the Masters.
Well, let's definitely start with Masters, because this was probably the biggest Masters in a while. It's probably the most exciting Masters we've seen in years, me being a big golf person as well, not just, those people that literally just show up when Tiger shows up, which apparently it happened now with Tiger winning, but Tiger winning is such a big effect on the game of golf as well. He gets people to watch it. He gets people to go out on the course and play. I mean, yeah, you're going to get these people that go on the course. They have all this Tiger Woods swag. They got his clubs. They got the red shirt. They got his Nike hat. They have all that, and they end up, shooting a 120 on an 18-hole course. Not my fault, but hey, it's good for golf. It's going to get people to watch the PGA Championship in May as well, since Tiger is favored to win that one. So that's pretty good for golf, let's put it that way. It's just Tiger just has something in him that gets people to watch golf. Because what were you doing last Sunday in sports? Were you watching the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, or were you paying attention more to the Masters?
Funny thing, I actually wasn't watching anything.
You weren't watching that? That's surprising.
I was working all day. I was at my place, but I was working on stories for the Stater and other stuff till 5. So by the time I got done with stuff, and then we had that big tornado that hit again, and all the power went out. By the time I got food and stuff, the Masters was already over. So I missed the whole thing.
Yeah, it happened early in the morning. They had to push it back early because there was bad weather coming towards Augusta. So they pushed it back early. I had to be up early then. I didn't go out Saturday night.
Now, as somebody who, like you said, is a fanboy of Tiger Woods, I guess you would say, I'm a big putter, okay? I'm not a big golf fan. I like going out and doing the mini putt at swings and things.
It's good practice
in the summer.
For your putting. That's what I do for my practice. I don't know if my co-host Michael really agrees with me that using that to practice my putting. When I practice chipping, I just do it in my backyard. That's the best way to practice your short game. My putting is, take a date on a putt. Girls like that.
No, absolutely. Tiger Woods, I mean, this is one of the most incredible stories in our lifetime, easily ever.
Oh, this is one of the best comebacks in sports.
This guy, literally 2 years ago, I thought we were never going to see again. I thought he was going to be some kind of drug addict. I mean,
he had a DUI 2 years ago. Then back in 2009.
I remember when it happened.
Yeah, me too.
Because people were criticizing him and acting like the guy's life is over. And now 2 years later, here we are, everybody's rooting for Tiger. And I just find it funny because, again, 2 years ago, everybody, Tiger, this is what Tiger deserves for cheating on his wife or whatever. And now that he's back in golf, people are celebrating. I just think it's funny, man, what sports brings. The narrative sports brings, it changes people.
It does change his people, especially with this Masters so far. Because going into the final round at the Masters, Tiger, he was tied for third, and Francesco Molinari, a great golfer, he was leading the whole way. He was leading the first 9. He did pretty good, and then on the first 2 holes on the back 9, he did pretty good. I think he parred both, and then on hole 12. It was a par 3, and there's it was like a river right there. And then there's that one of the Hogan Bridge right there where you walk over to go to the green. Molinari hits the ball, and that one goes right in the water. And a couple guys did that earlier. I think Brooks Koepka did that, and then the other guy they were with, Tony Finau, did that as well. So this gave Tiger a chance to put himself up into the leaderboards. I think after that, I think it was like anyone's game at that point. And then I think Molinari, he screwed up on hole 15 by going in the water again. So this put Tiger in the advantage. So on like the last 4 holes, people were really pushing Tiger to win. I mean, on hole 16, he almost had a hole in one. It was a beautiful drive he had right there on that par 3, because on hole 16 at the Masters, he was known for that famous chip he did where that ball rolls.
Right.
It's on the edge. It
Yeah.
was in like a Nike commercial, and people were just on their feet, and it goes in. That's basically how that moment was on 16. Birdied that one, par 17, and then on 18, man, all he needed was basically a bogey to win, because he was 14 under. No, he was 15 under, and then he went down to 14 under because he bogeyed that hole, missed the par shot. But it was just so great just seeing the crowd at Augusta like literally roar at like the probably loudest that crowd's ever been there. Like for golf. You don't get a lot of roaring sports fans like
No,
you do
that's
football,
no.
baseball, and basketball and hockey. They're not like that. Golf's more that classy sport. The gentleman's game is what it's known as. But those people at Augusta just went crazy for him. All the other golfers were congratulating Tiger, like Phil Mickelson as well, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Bubba Watson. They were all congratulating him. They were like very happy that Tiger won, even though they did not win. So it was just great to show how golf really appreciated how much this win for Tiger meant for him. Even Jack Nicklaus, the great Jack Nicklaus, he congratulated him on Twitter. So that was also pretty cool as well. So this was just pretty much big for golf. And, PGA ratings for like even just, a tournament round will probably go up a little bit. PGA Championship ratings, that will go up. The U.S. Open ratings will be up. Same thing with the Open Championship. And then the FedEx Cup, the Players Championship. Those ratings will be up. You're going to get people to watch golf. And they'll just only watch Tiger, but hey, it's good for the game.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that if it wasn't for what happened this weekend, we wouldn't be talking about it right now. The only reason why we're talking about it is because one specific person won, and because of the circumstances.
That is true, Brandon. Just Tiger just has that effect on the game of golf. Kind of like how Michael Jordan did with basketball.
Yeah.
Got people to watch it. His greatness is just so much appreciated. What he was doing in his early career by winning all those championships and tournaments. And then, he went through that struggle period. I mean, Jordan kind of did go through that struggle period when he played baseball.
Yeah.
Then he came back and, he won 3
Yeah.
championships. Tiger's kind of doing that right now. Hopefully,
it's similar, but Tiger's situation was a lot worse, which makes this better. What shift? Because I know also you wanted to talk about the NHL playoffs. Now, I'm not the biggest NHL fan, but I think you wanted to mention something on it, right?
I'm not the biggest NHL fan either, but when it comes to playoff time, the NHL playoffs top all of them. They're up there with I think the NHL's number 1. I'd have to put the NFL number 2, then Major League Baseball. And with how the NBA is currently, they would be number 4 out of the 4 major sports. I'm not including the college sports as well, but NHL playoffs have been exciting. The only NHL team in Ohio, the Columbus Blue Jackets, they made history Tuesday night. They swept the Tampa Bay Lightning, who were the number 1 seed in the NHL, and they also won the President's Cup trophy, and that's the team that usually winds up with the most points in hockey. Because hockey goes by points, by your players, and how many games you win. And Tampa won that, and a lot of NHL analysts were predicting, Tampa's going to sweep the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets had no chance. They literally snuck into the playoffs, the Jackets. You know what they end up doing? They end up sweeping this team. First time ever in NHL history this happened, where the President's Cup trophy winner gets swept in the playoffs. It never happened. It was big history for Columbus Blue Jackets. It was the first time they ever made it past the first round of the playoffs. They're moving on to the second round. They'll either play the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Boston Bruins, and they played last night. That was a very intense game as well, as no goals were scored in the first 2 periods, but then with like less than 8 minutes ago, Toronto went ahead and scored 2 goals, and now they're up 3-2 in that series. They play tomorrow. If Toronto wins, they'll move on to face the Blue Jackets in the semifinals in the NHL playoffs.
Who would you pick to win that series?
That series, I'm kind of like those, people who was like Ohio for Ohio, since, we don't have an NHL team in Cleveland. gotta support your Blue Jackets. As much as I want to see the Blue Jackets make history, I might have to take Toronto because of the players they got. I mean, John Tavares, who they got in the offseason from the Islanders, he's been a big player that's been helping the young Austin Matthews as well. I mean, I would have to take Toronto, but I would love to see the Blue Jackets make it to the conference finals for the first time. And, hey, they have a chance to get to the Stanley Cup.
And, I mean, it's kind of like in baseball. Once you're in that dance, you're in the dance, and anything can happen. All right. So we were talking off air, and we disagree about this. I've been talking about this guy for the last 2 weeks. Number 0 for the Oklahoma City Thunder, Russell Westbrook. You say you love his game. I personally hate the way he plays the game, and I know it's a strong word. I really do. I really don't like the guy. I think the NBA players voted him the most overrated player in the NBA, and I completely agree with them. So go ahead and just give your spiel to me on the great Russell Westbrook.
I don't think he is overrated. I mean, you look at his stats, he averaged a triple-double for 3 straight seasons. Well, I don't think Wilt Chamberlain did that. I don't think Wilt averaged 3 straight seasons of a triple-double. Russell Westbrook was doing that. The first year after Kevin Durant left, it was basically just Russ teams. He had to do it all. He literally hustled through the whole season and also the first round of the playoffs. And last year, he still played great, but I think the reason why the Thunder were not that good last year had because of Carmelo Anthony's play. As we see, Melo's no longer on team. He hasn't played that well recently. He's not even on a team right now, so that probably hurt the Thunder. Right now with Paul George, those two seem to mix together, but it seems like it's just those two. And with them being down the series against Portland, they need to pull together right now. I mean, Russ did pull together last night. He played pretty great. I didn't even get a chance to watch the game, but I heard he played excellent as usual. As him and Damian Lillard going back and forth with some beef, I would kind of want to say, just trash talk. That's what I love about his game. His trash talking is pretty good. I know people get mad with him and he's calling out a fan or something, but fans, we need to take a break, especially in NBA games, because the NBA, if you're sitting in the floor or lower seats, you're pretty close to the players, and what you say, they can hear it, and they're not afraid to talk back to you. So, especially in that Utah thing that happened, you just shouldn't do stuff like that. I mean, I just love his attitude when it comes to the game. That aggressive attitude, drive to the hoop, get that pass, get that rebound. I mean, he basically just plays the game like he's one of the Monstars.
He needs to do that less, and I would argue the success would be better. When you look at Russ last night, okay, last night he shot 50% from the field. I will take that. If he does that, Oklahoma City can win games. He didn't have a triple-double. He only had 5 rebounds. That's my point. The triple-double is so overrated, especially on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yeah, when he gets a triple-double, blah, 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 blah. But actually, when their team plays a lot better? When Russ doesn't shoot 50 shots a game, when he defers to Paul George, when he doesn't get the 20-20-20, when Russ gets 28 and 12, that's when they're at their best. When Russ gets 38, 15, and 15 on 40 shots, they don't win games. So I don't care. I'm a production guy, okay? I don't care about if a guy averages 50 in a season and gets beat in the first round. That to me is more about, he wore himself out. And that's what Russ has done the last couple of years, ever since KD's left. He's worn himself out. I already think he's going to wear himself out in this series. I think Portland takes it in 6. To be honest, I'm just going to throw it out here, and I'm just going to say it. I am rooting try hard for Oklahoma City to lose this series. I want to come in here next week and I want to bash that man as much as possible because I just don't like the guy.
You just don't like him as a player or just in general as a person?
I think he needs to grow up a little bit. I don't like the trash talking with fans. Fans, yes, you're close to him. Yeah, sure, you can say whatever, but why are you making it a point? It's like he's bothered. It's different than Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant sneaks into people's DMs and tells kids to go clean their room.
I mean, they're both.
I mean, why do you need to do that though? Why? You are a grown man. Look at Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is 19 years old.
Like our age, yeah.
He's a professional already, and he knows how to deal with the media. He knows how to deal with this stuff. You got guys like Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and all these guys. They're not grown-ups. they're like childs. And at the end of the day, Kevin Durant has a lot more talent than Russell Westbrook, and those two childs couldn't get along. And Paul George and Russell Westbrook get along because they choke together. They get eliminated together. They get comfort of each other because they want to try to rise above that together. And at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to.
I mean, you're totally right on how, ironically, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook can be childish in a different way. Russell Westbrook tends to be more childish when you're seeing him on the court. Kevin Durant does it on Twitter as he's like bashing 13, 14-year-olds on Twitter with burner accounts, which that's probably the most childish thing you can do as one of the second best NBA players in the league.
Let me ask, what's more childish? Yelling at a fan and telling them you're going to beat their you-know-what? Or sliding into some 13-year-old DMs and telling them to go clean your room?
I think maybe with Kevin Durant, he's almost 30, and you're sliding into DMs of like high schoolers. That's pretty childish. And you're talking people half your age, and you just want to chirp them because they said something about you, and that just looks bad on you, especially as the second best player in the NBA on the best basketball team in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors. No doubt about it. The Clippers seem to be done, I think. Hopefully they get together. Hopefully DeMarcus Cousins comes back in the Western Conference Finals for the Warriors, and I think that then the NBA's over there.
Here's been my huge point on Golden State. Nobody's talked about this. If Boogie is out for the playoffs, nobody has even thought about the possibility of, well, could he come back to Golden State on a 1-year another prove-it deal? Nobody has discussed it because, here's the thing. Nobody's discussed it. If he's hurt again, is anybody going to take a chance on him? Nobody took a chance on him last year. So he can come back to Golden State. This is the worst thing that could happen for the NBA is him getting hurt. It's the worst thing that happened in this entire playoff so far. If he is not back, do you really think a team is going to give him a max contract?
Oh, I don't think the Warriors would re-sign him if he starts for the whole playoffs.
Oh,
I know what team. I know what
Golden State would.
They would.
Golden State would. I'm telling you right now, and I think it would even enhance.
I have a feeling Kevin Durant might be leaving, so that's why they could be trying to sign Boogie.
Well, I do too, but I don't think it's a for sure thing. Everybody's saying KD's going to New York. I don't think we know yet.
We don't know for sure. We'll have to see how the draft, the lottery, the NBA lottery. We gotta see how that plays out.
Yeah, I don't know if you already know my take on the lottery. I think it's completely rigged for the Knicks. I think the Knicks already have the pick in the bag.
This is like Patrick Ewing back in.
I'm not even thinking about the Cavs getting Zion Williamson. I like
John Morant. I think the Cavs did.
Yeah, I mean,
I would take John.
I don't think RJ Barrett's going to be. I mean, I think he'll be an okay pro. I think John Morant's going to be better than him.
John Morant's going to be like a Dwayne Wade type player.
Oh yeah, I used to think RJ Barrett was like that until I watched RJ in the tournament. I'm like, this guy's not that good. And
yeah, RJ, I don't think he's like a player you can really build around.
No,
and that's what the Cavs want. They want a player they can build around someone. Colin Sexton, he's a great point guard, but I don't think you can really build around him.
And here's the thing. This was my point about Kyrie, too. When Kyrie left for Boston, you can't build around Kyrie either.
No.
There are only a couple players in the NBA you can build around. I think there's 4. Kawhi, Steph, Durant, LeBron. I think that's the only 4 you can build around. Russ is arguable, but we've seen it. James Harden is arguable, but we've seen they haven't won with James Harden. We've seen they've won with Steph. We've seen Toronto with Kawhi now. We've seen LeBron and we've seen KD. I think those are the only 4 superstars you can build a team around.
Oh, that's absolutely true. You can only build around those 4 players, I think. I mean, Russ just tends to just do more stuff for the stats. Kyrie, it just seems like he's like one of the point guards you really can't build around. Steph's game, it's easy to build around because his is mostly pass and shoot, and then maybe drive here and there. So that's why I think Steph Curry was a little bit easier to build around to the Warriors compared to other point guards in the league. Like I don't even think you could really build around Chris Paul either.
No, you can't, and you can't build around Damian Lillard. You can't build around Anthony Davis. Like these superstars, they're all like number 2s. I call them complimentary stars. I've said this for years. I think there's only 3 or 4 stars in the NBA that are true superstars. And by the way, LeBron's now starting to get knocked down to tier 2. We're starting to, and people are forgetting. They're like, oh, if KD goes to New York, he's not going to win a championship. If KD goes to New York, he's not going alone. Kyrie's going with him. and they're going to have Zion. The Knicks are going to win the East next year if KD goes to New York.
Oh,
I guarantee
That's
it.
so true. I would love to see that for the Knicks franchise as well because they've been so bad this.
And they deserve it.
They deserve
They
it. New
deserve
York's
it.
they have a passionate NBA fan base with the Knicks organization more
No,
than they do the Nets.
no, I mean they deserve to lose. They don't deserve the championship.
They don't?
No, their fans have been terrible. They don't show up.
The
to
New
games.
Yorkers, what do you expect? You know, the New York's expectation for all their teams is you don't win a championship, it's over. Like how they are with the Yankees. You see with the Yankees, they think if the Yankees
and that's
don't
why
win
they
the
don't
series,
deserve it. And that's why they don't deserve it.
Just New York is so special, especially Madison Square Garden, one of the most famous.
See,
arenas
to me, it's not as special anymore. It hasn't been special since I've grown up. I don't really think of Madison Square Garden as that special. I think of the Staples Center, the TD Garden. I even think of the Q as somewhat special now because of how.
Oracle not being around, that was a pretty special. A lot of great events happened before the Super Team Warriors. You had the We Believe team with Baron Davis, Vince Carter's famous slam dunk, and then early on when they were the San Francisco Warriors.
Yeah.
There were some great teams there, but now this is like their last season in Oracle, and they're moving across the bay to San Francisco, where I heard not too many people in the San Francisco area of the Bay Area really care much about the Warriors than they do in Oakland. Because in 2015, I went to San Francisco, and I was wearing Cavs gear. I was afraid, like, if I go to Pittsburgh wearing Browns gear, people will talk crap to me. If I go to, like, New York, Boston, if I'm wearing something that says Cleveland, locals will talk crap to me. I went to San Francisco. No one really questioned me after the Warriors beat the Cavs in the finals in 2015. I'm like, all right, this is really strange. They're really not.
Well, that's because they're all bandwagoners.
That's what the West Coast do. They're not as passionate as sports when it comes to like the East Coast and the Midwest. They're more bandwagoners. So you see those Warrior fans right now. They were Laker fans in the 2000s when Kobe and Shaq were taking over.
Yep.
Now they're the Warrior fans, and I don't think there's going to be any bandwagon Laker fans looking at how this organization is doing everything. That's a mess down there in the Staples Center with the Lakers.
All right, Enzo, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up my show, and I'm going to go ahead and transfer seats so that you can get into the spot for your show.
Pass the mic coming up soon, boys.
Pass the mic is up next.
Is in the studio as well.
Yeah, indeed, and, you know, I can't wait to listen to your guys' show today. I'm going to go back, listen to their show, and edit this audio and put it up as a podcast so you guys can go back and listen to it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today to Brandon's World. Like I said, next week, Andrew Becca, host of the Andrew Becca podcast, will be in here all 2 hours. We're going to do a special, draft recap show. The NFL draft's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. This has been a crazy month in the sports world. It's been more crazy than I expected, and I can't wait to share the rest of this semester with you guys.
All right. Yeah, thanks. Listen to our show. It's coming up next in 8 minutes.
All right. We will see you guys next week.